Welcome to our Angular Toast component tutorial. With the Syncfusion Angular Toast component, you can show a small pop-up that displays messages, alerts, or notifications on the screen. In this video, you will see how to add the Toast component to an Angular application. I will also show you the available Toast positions, how to set the timeout value, and render the Toast content using an HTML template. Let me start with the application creation process. I'm going to create an Angular application using the Angular CLI tool. Make sure you have installed the latest version of Node.js. I will edit my code using Visual Studio Code and view the output in Google Chrome. To create an Angular project, I open Visual Studio Code and install the Angular CLI using the npm install-g at angular/CLI command. Next, I will create a new Angular project. I use the command ng new project name and name my project my Angular app. I will create a project with the option to add a CSS file. So I choose the CSS option. The project creation has started, and an Angular project with its dependencies is created. Now let me navigate to the project folder. To add the Syncfusion Angular Toast component, I install the Syncfusion Angular Notifications package using the npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Angular Notifications --save command. The application is now ready to use. The first thing I must do here is register the trial license key to use Syncfusion components. I open the main TS file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. To learn how to generate this license key, refer to the link in the description below. The application is now configured to use Syncfusion components. Next, I navigate to the app component TS file, import the Toast module from the Syncfusion Angular Notifications package, and register it within the imports array of the component section. To apply styles, navigate to the styles CSS file and add CSS references by importing the material theme. To add the Toast component, I navigate to the app component HTML file and remove the default code snippets first. I add a division element with the class container. Then include the Toast component within it by adding the EJS Toast tag. Next, open the style CSS file and add a few CSS styles like margin, width, and height to the container class. After that, I'll proceed to add a title and content to the Toast. First, let me define the ng template tag and set a reference for it. Then, within the division element, add the title and content with the appropriate text. As the Toast component displays temporary messages or notifications for specific conditions, it will therefore not be visible initially. So I need to invoke the show method explicitly to display the component. For demonstration purposes, I will display the Toast with a button click using the Syncfusion Angular button component. So let me install the package using the npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Angular buttons --save command. I import the button module from the Syncfusion Angular buttons package to use the button component. This button dynamically shows and closes the Toast component by calling the appropriate methods in the onClick event handler. Before proceeding further, I need to create a reference for the Toast to access its built-in methods. So I open the app component HTML file and add a reference variable. Then I go back to the app component TS file import the viewChild decorator from the Angular core package. To get a reference to a child component or directive in the template, and add a viewChild directive, passing in the reference variable toast object. Next, I define a variable named toast object of type toast component. Additionally, I also imported the toast component from the Syncfusion Angular notifications package. To add buttons, let me navigate to app component HTML. Here, I plan to add 2 buttons, one for showing the toast and the other for hiding it. I set the appropriate content for buttons. I also add a click event for each button with appropriate event handlers. Next, open the app component TS. I define the event handler and invoke the show method within it using the toast component instance. I then define the hide toast event handler and invoke the hide method to hide it. I save the changes and run the application using the npm start command. And now the page renders with 2 buttons. When I click this button, the toast appears. After a few seconds, the toast will disappear. If I click this button 3 times continuously, 3 toasts are shown. When I click the Hide All button, all the toasts disappear. By default, the toast renders at the top left position. You can customize the position to 5 static locations around the target. They are based on the predefined X and Y positions. X has 3 positions, left, center, and right. Y has top and bottom positions. The default value of X is left, and Y is top. To change the position of the toast, define an object, namely position, with the X value set to the right and Y value to the top. Then bind it to the position property. You can see that the toast appears at the top right position. By default, the toast expires and disappears in 5 seconds. To customize the default timeout, use the timeout property. To demonstrate, I set the timeout property to 500 milliseconds. You can see that the toast disappears after 500 milliseconds. You can also show the toast for as long as you like. This can be achieved by setting the timeout property to 0. Check now, the toast remains visible until I click the Hide All button. You can also close the toast using a close button. To add the close button, I set the Show Close button property to true. You can see that the toast appears with a close button and closes when I click it. Finally, I will show you how to add HTML elements to the toast component using the template reference in the ng template. First, I remove the existing title and content as they will be rendered through the template. Then I include the ng template tag with a template reference. Inside it, to customize the toast content, I add 2 division elements for the title and content, and an image tag for displaying the map. Here, I have added a few classes, toast content, toast title, and toast message for better alignment of HTML elements. I plan to display the toast without a close icon. So let me disable the Show Close button property by setting it to false. Next, open the style CSS file. I define those CSS classes and add the required CSS styles like margin, width, height, display, and more. You can see now that when I click this button, the customized toast with HTML content appears. Let me summarize this video. You learned how to add the toast component to an Angular application. You also saw how to customize the toast positions, timeout, and the toast content using a template. If you would like to see a working example of this, you can download it from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also shared a link to learn about obtaining a free license key to use our Angular components through our community license. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel.